Korea and Japan.
The two liberal democracies and market economies of East Asia enjoy a great amount of interaction between its peoples and millions travel back and forth. However, it is widely known that the two countries face challenges in finding solutions to the problems of forced labor during the colonial period and more recently, the water contamination from Fukushima.
Yet ever-shifting international circumstances require the two neighboring countries, both allied to the US, to cooperate and bring forth peace and prosperity.
Korea-Japan bilateral relations have significantly worsened during the latter half of the 2010s, when the issue of comfort women and the forced laborers rose as the main conflict to be solved between the two countries.
In 2018, the Korean Supreme Court ordered Japan's Nippon Steel and Sumitomo Metal to pay $88,700 in compensation to each of the four South Korean forced labor victims. The court also ordered Mitsubishi Heavy Industries of Japan to compensate South Koreans that had been forced to work in its factories during the Second World War. Japan responded by imposing wide-reaching new trade restrictions on South Korea in 2019, also removing Korea from its trade whitelist.
However, Korea and Japan held their first bilateral summit in 12 years in March 2023. The Yoon government announced a third-party debt repayment solution and said that Korea would not seek reimbursement from defendant companies.
Introducing donation-based compensation for Japan's forced labor. Foreseeably, the proposal was not received well by the Korean public, with nearly 60% against it according to the Gallup Korea poll. In the Korea-Japan summit, President Yoon declared that Korea would not exercise its right to indemnify Japanese companies.
In return, the Japanese Prime Minister Kishida expressed sympathies for the suffering of forced laborers during Japanese colonial period, although no official apology was made.
In order to improve the relationship between South Korea and Japan, what specific measures should be taken?
According to the Korea National Diplomatic Academy, a public opinion survey conducted between 2018 and 2021 showed that 59% of South Korean citizens had a negative perception of Japan.
However, at the same time, 61% of the respondents expressed support for the trilateral military security cooperation between South Korea, United States, and Japan.
This indicates that although many Koreans have negative perceptions of Japan, they are still in favor of trilateral military security cooperation, suggesting that negative sentiments between the two countries may not completely close the possibility of policy cooperation.
On the contrary, as security cooperation continues, mutual interests may grow, leading to a better understanding and a closer relationship over time.
To achieve genuine improvement in South Korea-Japan relations, efforts from the private sector must also be undertaken alongside national security approaches.
The most significant issue hindering progress in South Korea-Japan relations is undoubtedly historical ones. The South Korean government has consistently conveyed its concerns about Japan's history textbook revisions and politicians' visits to controversial shrines, but Japan sees no reason to accede to these demands as it does not align with the interests of its ruling party.
To foster genuine awareness of historical issues within Japan, it is necessary for the government to continually assert its position on historical issues while promoting ongoing cultural exchanges and establishing a shared perspective on history.
In the past, South Korea was economically less developed and culturally less mature compared to Japan. But today, both countries possess a similar level of economic and cultural strengths.
South Korea's younger generation harbors fewer negative sentiments toward Japan, and the young people of Japan are relatively less concerned about the historical issues.
Therefore, expanding private sector exchanges, particularly among the youth of both countries, is essential.
The improvement of Korea-Japan relations is doubtless a hard one, but it is our mission to overcome this hardship and move on to a better future.